to the Wednesday Call Live. Now, let's hear it for our special guest host, Mike Lewantowicz.
Make sure my mute button's off. Hey, happy to see everybody and happy to be seen. Here we are in January. I think this is our first TWC of the year. Coming off last week was the first. So, hey, glad you're here joining us. Lots going on. It's exciting. In fact, I just got to share. We got a lot of people that are moving and shaking we're going to get to, but it's like I was talking to Rodney Kraft this morning, who runs our ARC operations, our commission payouts. He's like, have you seen how much money is flowing from the carriers into people's bank accounts? I'm like, I know. In fact, I'm just going to share. I haven't seen the whole company because they won't give me that, but I was just looking at our team. And for the first 7 days of the year, this messes me up because this ain't never happened before. But the first 7 days of the year, we've got people whose paychecks are running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 6 people whose paychecks the first 7 days, the lowest is $23,000 and the highest is $69,000 deposited in their bank account in the first 7 days of 2025. It's like, oh my gosh. So if you're tuning in, get somebody else to listen in, because the people that I'm interviewing are helping drive some of these results. It's crazy stuff. So it's getting real. People that were doing the work is people like, where's the money coming from? Some of it's Medicare. Some of it's annuities and estate planning and life and overrides and renewals. It's coming from everywhere into people's bank accounts that have been doing the work. So with that said, I am Mike Lewantowicz. I'm here out of Louisville, Kentucky. My wife, Noelle, and I have been building our business with the help of Andy and Jane Albright. The Alliance has set up an infrastructure that we've been able to run on this track and continue to grow and make some massive things happen. So we're very grateful. We still continue to have fun at a high level at what we're doing, serving agents, serving clients, making a difference. It's been fun. And so we're here as we're kicking off this year to give you some insight on some people that had some big things happen throughout last year and in the fourth quarter that have made some changes and are making changes to really take things to a higher level as we go into 2025. I know some of the people I've been talking to have been reading the book that 10X is easier than 2X, or 2X is harder than 10X, however you want to look at it. And they've taken some of the things that are from that and they're implementing that in their own way to make a difference in their business. So I'm hoping you can pick up something that can help you as an agent that's getting started. Maybe you've been with us a year. Maybe you've got someone that's new on your team. Maybe there's an element of your business that you need to look at that's holding you back. I'm hoping you pick something up here from the 3 couples that we've got that we're going to be talking with. So with that said, I'm going to jump right into it, and we're going to bring up LaQuinta and Sebastian Chambers coming out of Oklahoma. Hey, guys, I'm happy to have you here.
We're happy to be here, Mike.
And, you know, what's fun is I've been asked to interview people that are not on my team. So I'm actually curious, and I know a little bit about each of these couples, but I get to kind of pry and ask some stuff and maybe help you that maybe don't know them as well as I do. I don't know them that well either, but help each of you that's listening kind of learn a little bit about Sebastian LaQuinta. So first of all, kind of give us the backstory. Where are y'all at? When did you jump into the insurance business? I know, Sebastian, you had some experience in the health world, but kind of enlighten us a little bit about, hey, what made you who you are today?
Well, first I want to say we got to thank Terry and Tia. We love those guys to death. Just amazing for sharing this opportunity with us. And the other couple that y'all see later, Jason and Olga, we love them too. Great mentors, Andy and Angela Riddle. Thank you guys. We love you. And Andy and Jane, bravo on the Alliance. To think about how many lives y'all impact. Oh my God, I'm just so thankful and appreciative. But we're Sebastian and LaQuinta Chambers, billionaires. We have mansions and yachts. We live right here in Lawton, America, Lawton, Oklahoma. We all here call it Lawton, America, but we've been in the business with the Alliance since 2020. June of 2020 is when I met Terry and Tia.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, keep going.
I worked for the government full time. I worked for the government for about 9 years at the time when we saw this opportunity, and my wife worked for the school system. She was working as an administrator for the school system.
Okay. And so in 2020, what was going on in your life that caused you to start to listen to Terry Edwards?
Well, like you said, I was having some success in the health world, but and it's with Medicare Advantage plans and Medicare supplement plans. But most people in our field, we know that it's seasonal. You can write business all year long if you know how to market and stuff like that. But most people it's a lazy man's game. You work from October 15th to December 7th, and you make as much in 54 days as most people make on their jobs in a year. Mm-hmm. And over time, it starts multiplying. At the time when I came to the Alliance, I think my renewal income was at about $1,500 a month at the time. So I was already building up to replace my job income just with renewals. So when I met Terry said, Sebastian, it's great that you guys are doing what you're doing with Medicare, but have you thought about what about the rest of the year? And I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, man, life insurance. And I was like, life insurance, okay. And so we got to talking to me, and he was sharing with me about some of their successes and what they have been able to do. And then he said this. He said, I tell you what, Sebastian, how about you just try to do what I'm telling you, and if it don't work, you can blame me. I said, let's go. We had nothing to lose.
Awesome. Well, that's good. So kind of fast forward to maybe January, the beginning of last year. What kind of changed? What caused you to kind of ramp up your game, get more aligned with us? And what were some of the things you were kind of doing throughout the year? Kind of take us to that point. Okay.
Well, so one of the big things that happened in January for us, we retired LaQuinta, and she came on full time.
So excited.
Yeah. So, but the whole game plan was when she came on board for us to really hunker down and just plug into the system. I consider myself somebody to be real sharp, and I can pick up on things real fast, but I learned that I wasn't listening, and I had to learn to listen. And then I had to listen to learn. So I realized that I had to reevaluate myself. I had to trust LaQuinta. She saw a lot of things that I wasn't doing properly that I could do right. And then we got all that stuff together. We started following the 8 steps a lot closer. To be honest with you, up until that time, I hadn't even memorized the 8 steps. That's how far off the system I was. I mean, yeah, I read the book, right? But when I started, when I hunkered down and just decided to follow the system, and I sat down with Terry and I said, hey man, look, I want to grow. What do I need to do, man? And everything he said from that point forward, I just did it. If he would have said jump off the building backwards and just free fall, I would have did it, because I knew it'd be a big old net with money laying in it, because he told me to do it, because everything he had done had been successful. So we just wanted to do that. So one of the big changes was her coming on board, seeing where we were missing, the things that needed to be done, and then applying it, like going to work.
Okay. So, Quentin, talk a little bit, what kind of work were you doing before you stepped away and jumped in helping out here?
All right. So for the past 17 years, I was with our Lawton Public Schools. I started out as finance secretary, and I got promoted really fast to accounts payable manager. And I did that for the majority of the time that I was employed. And then I was part caregiver for my mom. She was diagnosed with cancer, and toward the end, right before I retired, I would say about 2 to 3 years, into that, she got that cancer diagnosis. And then right toward the end, right before my retirement, I switched to human resources benefits manager. So I've always been in management, in my positions, managing programs, not necessarily people. But I did have to communicate, on a regular basis with the other secretaries in the district, and they were on track. I worked closely with the coaches and the athletic program. So I'm a sports head, so that was right up my alley. I interacted with them. I told them when they could spend money, when they couldn't spend money, and you spending too much money and you don't have no money. So what are you trying to do? So I was that person. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it tremendously.
So as you stepped into this role, what were the biggest things that you kind of jumped into and got your hands into?
Well, a lot of people don't know this. When we had our office, our daughter was part of our staff, and we have 2 granddaughters. So we had part of this office where we're at right now in this location as a daycare for them. So we all worked together. So the grandkids were here also. So when I came on board, right, when we were setting goals and all that, I knew that we could not have them here in the office full time. So we put them in school, in daycare. So I retired, was in the office full time. We put them in daycare. And then basically I was like a silent partner. I was observing, just trying to get my feet wet, listen to what was going on, seeing the clients, the interactions, the flow. I didn't really say much of anything. I just wanted to observe and see how I could fit in the puzzle. Because it's a big, big puzzle that we're trying to put together. So
I want to pause right there. Something you said that might have just slipped by somebody, but you talked about having the grandkids there. And some people think, oh, isn't that cool? You got your grandkids there. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you love them, but I just heard you say, we need to get the hell away from them. No offense.
I get it.
I mean, it's like, I think, so watch this. We all have to make sure we have a functional environment. And the fact that you knew that, not everybody knows that.
Right.
So if there's somebody here and you're working and your environment's full of distraction, when are you going to take the time to change it?
That is correct.
Whether it's, I had somebody that set up an office to start doing estate planning, and they realized, oh my gosh, I've never been more productive than I am now that I've got an office.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying everybody needs an office. Whatever your environment is, you have to manage it and control it.
Right.
For Noelle and I, when we first started, we were in a townhouse. It had 3 levels. We made the lower level. The base had a walkout, everything, windows, but lower level, we would hire a babysitter nanny to keep at the time. The 2 kids were not allowed down into the office level, so we had a babysitter in our house. Right. We would work, but it was they were not allowed. It was like alarms went off, intruder alert, kind of a thing. But so we knew we had to protect that part of our environment. So whatever it is, in fact, you knew that. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, keep going. So fast forward a little bit. What are some of the things that you're doing? Where do you have your hands in the business now, LaQuinta?
Okay, so right now I am heavy on keeping a schedule, being very precise with our time, and making sure Sebastian is where he needs to be, whether it's on a home appointment, conducting an educational event, whatever the case may be. I just manage the schedule and make sure he is where he's supposed to be. I also manage the office as well. We do have walk-in traffic. Like I said, like Sebastian said earlier, he was in the healthcare space before. So we have a very frequent flow of the older community that comes in for assistance with Medicare. So we have people that come in on a regular basis. So I help manage that and schedule appointments for them to come back and get the help that they need. We do have a lot of agents that we are onboarding and, getting going. So I make sure that they are where they're supposed to be in the process. Hopefully no one gets, left behind and all that good stuff. And then I do some social media stuff on Facebook. So I kind of touch everything. I don't sell or anything like that. I just connect the pieces. I just connect the dots,
And you say you don't sell. I'm going to challenge that. You may not be selling with your license or something, but I promise you, when you said you make sure Sebastian's at places on time, I'm sure that you're selling him at showing up. Or you're selling someone else at not being part of his schedule at that time or blocking and tackling somehow.
Correct. Correct. I don't go in the home or anything like that.
It's an easy sell, Mike. It's an easy sell.
All right. So I was looking at some numbers just to give people perspective. I think you were sharing some of this with me, but what was your income from Alliance activity in 2023, and what did it jump up to in 2024, Sebastian?
$51,000 for 2023. That was everything that was deposited in our account from the Alliance. But this past year, $136,000 was our deposits from January 2024 to December 2024.
Big jump. I mean, we're talking 50,000, 136. That's like almost a triple.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. So Sebastian, what are some of the things, and I guess actually before I get there, even some of the highlights I saw from the fourth quarter, looks like you guys had about 10 or 11 agents issuing business. And then I saw you had a 45,000 personal issue paid, and a big chunk of that was about 400-some thousand in annuities. What were the things that you started doing, here, Sebastian, in the last quarter to elevate your annuity game, to elevate, the number of agents that are writing business on your team?
LaQuinta and I were sitting down talking about it, and I was talking with Terry and Tia. We added estate planning. And we haven't done any seminars yet, but what I have is a lot of Medicare clients. And we started letting the Medicare clients know that we're offering trust and will services. And sure enough, they started coming through. I put an ad in the newspaper, in the little TV section of the newspaper. And I've had 2 people call me from that. We wrote one of those. And then I had 4 other of my Medicare clients that did estate plans. And what happened was it opened up the door for all these monies. And so we wrote about, off of the 5 estate plans, we've written 4 annuities.
There we go. That's big. Okay, so I can almost jump in and do a 30-minute training here with just asking you questions about this, but I know learning the Medicare space, it's a pain in the butt when you do it the first time. Would you agree?
It can be if you're trying to figure everything out instead of we're real good about being told what to do and then just go do it. Like I don't have to know why it's happening. I can just go do it. But right. But was it scary? Heck yeah, because I didn't want to lose my license. But it's kind of hard to lose your license if you just do the right thing. So
that's true. So, but I have some people that say, "Oh, you got to learn some more." Yeah, there's some more stuff to do. But once you get started, like you said, you're building a clientele. Yes, the overrides and the renewals are nice, but if you are excited about the estate planning and annuity side, it's a gateway. You've built up trust, and you go and you harvest more from that field that you've been fertilizing and plowing and cultivating for weeks, months, or years. Right. And that's there if you'll pick up the phone or do some other things to make people aware. So that's a big piece. In fact, since you mentioned the estate planning side, I want to just do a quick segue because Tia asked us to talk about this. Our national conference is coming up on the 24th, 25th, 26th of January. So we're talking 2 days and 2 weeks out. So if you're like, ooh, I need to be in on that, I say, yes, you do. I've had some people saying, are there any early bird tickets left? There might be 1 or 2, but I tell you what, we've got that price set at $299 for the event ticket. That's a darn good price. People say, is that a lot of money? I said, well, I have paid $4,000 to attend an event with Tony Robbins where I learned a lot. I learned a lot about me and business in general, but guess what I did? I didn't find a Medicare expert to help me in my business like I could with Sebastian. I didn't have carriers there. I didn't have estate planning details. While it helped me, it not near as much as what I get out of one of our conferences where I'm getting real world tips that are directly applicable to what I'm doing when I get back. It's not just all conceptual and theory. It's like, no, this is what we're doing. So if you're like, I need to get more information, I need to get better and escalate, get to our conference. Now, coming back, we're doing a special estate planning training. It's kicking off at noon on the Thursday before, from 12 to 5, and then I think from 9 or 8 until noon on Friday. So if you're like, I am dying to hear about the estate planning, good, because here's who's going to be doing the training. The group of warriors that went through the fire starting in February, March, and April of last year that have come through, that are now cash flowing $30,000, $50,000, $80,000, $120,000 a month with the estate planning process. That's who's doing the training for the estate planning on Thursday afternoon and Friday morning. Now, guess what? We're not charging any extra. If you're going to be at National Conference, just get there the morning of the Thursday. However, because of the demand and we have a room with fixed walls that we can't expand, you need to pre-register. There is a link on the information page for National Conference. If you go to theallianceevents.com, you'll see it there. If you want to ensure your seat, it's first come, first serve on the registration. So if you don't register and you show up hoping to get in, and if it's filled up, sorry, you're going to have to put a cup to the wall and hope you can listen in and get some tips. So spread the word. Seriously, it's amazing the group that we've had, whether it's Jake and Belle Krause and Joe Walker. I've seen Linda Goebel. I've seen Mark Burrows. I've seen Brandon Bulis. We've seen others that are coming through and scoring big. Rory Bean is up there making stuff happen. I don't know who all they got lined up. I've seen Tad and Tad Peterson, Chris Manifold, Jake and Bray Joseph, and Amanda Moss. Oh, there's a lot of people winning in that space, making stuff happen. If you're going to jump in, you need to know. All right, that's enough. I want to get back. Talk more about what you've learned and how excited you are about the estate plan. Talk to me about some of the things that you're planning to do moving into 2025 to build on what you've done so far.
So basically, consistent. Like one thing I did learn, we did pretty decent in recruiting this past year, but there was a couple of times I kind of backed off of recruiting. One big takeaway from this past year, 2024, I'm going to consistently keep recruiting. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to ever back away because quality control issues or whatever. And then the estate planning, we planning on doing 4 to 6 events this year. We have, like I said, we haven't done any, but I told LaQuinta, I said, with our client base of loan, we see already the demand. Imagine bringing together a room full of people. Mm-hmm. So it's like I've had practice closing these estate plans successfully. Mm-hmm. So having a larger pool of fish to snatch, I think it's going to be pretty amazing for us.
LaQuinta, if he says something about slowing down or pausing on the recruiting again, do you have some pain-inflicting tool, whether it's a frying pan, baseball bat, an iron, something you can hit him? He's got a big spot on his head you could aim for.
I have my imaginary whip.
Okay, all right. Get something. Don't let you know how to block and tackle. Just put it in his calendar. He'll do it.
Yeah. We're not stopping. No, we're keeping going.
What kind of goals do you have, whether it's on the revenue side? You talked about the plan to do 4 estate plans. What other kind of goals have you laid out going into this next year?
Yep, $500,000. The goal is to deposit $500,000 in profits into our account this year. Mm-hmm. Really want to do more. My real goal, I'm shooting for $1 million, but $500,000 is the standard. Like nothing below that for this year. And I believe it can be done just by the tools that we've been given. Like I said, Andy and Jane, this is probably the most ingenious thing I've ever been involved in. Mm-hmm. That if you want to do something for your family's legacy and take control, this vehicle will do it for you.
You said, you reminded me of something, because you said last year in January you started attending the meetings, and you told me something yesterday too that was a big change. You said that you started treating the calls like this TWC and the activity call differently. What changed about that for you last year?
Yeah.
I started doing it more, but I have a coach. His name is Terry Edwards, and Terry don't let you up. He will let you know what you need to be doing. So for a long time, I never thought of these calls as meetings. You know, one of the 8 steps is attend all meetings. And these are meetings for us. The world that we live in now, we don't have to always be at a place physically, but we can connect. This is where our National Alliance of Agents connect on Wednesday, this TWC. So if I'm considered myself connected, if I want people to know who we are, if I want to be a producer, I mean, can you earn money at a job when you don't show up for the job? Most jobs will just drop you out.
That's right. There you go.
Step 5.
That's step 5.
So, I mean, this is part of attend all meetings. Like for those folks who say, well, I can't travel or I can't do this. Well, you got no excuse. Now get off of Facebook, jump on this Zoom, jump on this YouTube, because I'm sure you got all those things. So this right here changed for me because we found out about estate planning from a TWC. We didn't know anything about this stuff that was going on. So a lot of the information that we learned, it'll come through these mediums, and then we know about the events. Like you just talked to us about the estate planning. All of a sudden now there's a link that we need to sign up on. Well, if I wasn't on the TWC today and I didn't listen, and now 200 people go and register, I missed out. It was announced on the TWC. If you just would have been at the meeting, you would have been there.
Ooh, hate that. Don't you hate that when you know something was on TWC and you're talking to someone on your team and you didn't hear about that? Yeah. Were you on the TWC? Well, yeah. So really? Well, maybe not. Yep. All right. Well, that's good. Hey, I'm so proud of y'all. I'm excited to see y'all hit $500,000 to $1 million revenue in 2025.
Junior board member. I'm sorry.
Junior board member. Yep.
Junior board member. We need a board member. Get you a board member ring.
Junior board member. Sorry. Terry would have jacked me up if I didn't say that one.
And we earned Cabo, and we're gonna and we're earning
as
well.
Yeah, Phuket. We're going to Cabo, going to Thailand.
There we go. Sweet. Awesome. Okay. Good stuff. All right. Hey, next up, thank you so much, Mike. And Kate Maurici coming out of Chicago area. Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
Hey guys, doing amazing. How you doing?
Hey, we're rocking. All right. Well, hey, give us a heads up. Let's assume somebody's listening for the first time, doesn't know who you are. Give us a quick 411 of what's been going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike and Kate Maurici were out of the southwest suburbs of Chicago, both born and raised out this way. I went to school, Loyola, Chicago, studied marketing, did D1 volleyball there, got to travel all over the country and the world playing ball. And then I was pharmaceutical sales rep for... I don't even know how many years now that I think about it, but I was traveling all over the country doing that position, and I actually got introduced to this business from my aunt, Diane Lampy, who she's had major success here. She's a board member of the company, 7-figure income earner. I think she was one of the fastest agents to hit $1 million in income in the company. So she introduced the business to me. I started working part-time in the moonlight, and I was just working on the weekends and in the evenings, and I just started making more money on the weekend than I was during the week. And then I fell in love with the culture and the leadership and the mentorship, and I switched over to full-time, and I haven't looked back since. And Kate, she's been working in the IT industry for a while, and last year she switched out of that IT position.
Got to fire my boss.
To fire her boss.
Finally.
So she is going at it with me here. And then we've got our two little ones, MJ, who's turning 4 this month, which blows our minds. And then Lola, who had turned 1 back in November. So just balancing all that out and just getting after building a business.
There you go. Cool. All right. Wow. All right. So, Kate, where are the little ones right now?
Who cares? Not
Oh no, we're super grateful to live super close to family, both sets of parents, and plenty of aunts and uncles that, are always willing to drop what they are doing to come help us. But yeah, kind of like LaQuinta was saying, got to get the kids out so that you can get your work on. It's hard to do that when you're trying to balance kids screaming in the background and talking to agents or selling over the phone. So
yeah, that can be a trick. That's good. Okay. In fact, you say that because there's some people with little kids, and I know for Noel and I, sometimes you've got the luxury of family nearby, and that's amazing. And if people ask me, Coach, I'm like, ooh, careful, don't burn it out. We moved 2.5 hours away from family, and so we didn't have that as an option. We had to build a bullpen, and what we found is if you're building a business, you got kids, we had to build like pitchers in a baseball team. You need more than one, and you need a few that you can plug in and play. So we quickly learned to build a bullpen of childcare that can either help us during the day, or if we were traveling, because that was a big thing, you're going to be gone. We've taken some fun trips for 2 weeks. You could wear a babysitter out 3 or 4 days. You better have a couple more so they can share the load. And that took time of networking because guess what? We're also particular about who we'd have our kids around. So you said, well, I wouldn't want my kids around anybody. Neither would I. We had to work through referrals and test and interview and whatever. So it takes work. So I definitely get that. Well, good. So, hey, give us a snapshot. Where were you at a year ago, and where are you at now as we closed out December of last year?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see, the end of last year and going into January of 24, we were about half the size of our businesses right now. So we were doing right around 70 grand as a team for issue paid business. I think our unique writers were right around, just under 20, maybe 15 is what we were averaging, right around there each month. National manager level last year, and then the end of this past year, so the end of 24. So we were recognized and we hit VP, which we're really excited about. Fired up about our team. It wasn't us, it was the team. So all the recognition goes to all of them for pushing hard at the end of the year, just getting in those last numbers, and we were super fired up about just seeing the growth with a lot of the guys on our team, and we're excited for getting after it this year and just helping develop more and more leaders. So that's kind of where it's gone from January of last year to January of this year. It's just doubling.
Okay, so national manager means you're around that 75,000. VP means you're hitting over 100,000. What's your best month of issue paid as we were closing out the year in 2024? What was your top month?
156 was our top month. I think it was in August. It was Augest. Yeah, so 156 was our top.
So kissing up to 150,000, knocking on the door of EVP, and certainly with growth. But have you guys set a goal for this year? What's the goal for 2025?
Yeah, got a lot of goals for this year. So we put on there a income of 750 grand for our goal for this year, and definitely board member status minimum to hit. 100 teammates at an event before the end of the year. So that's been our number. We've just been chanting that number 100 to each other and the team about hitting that for people getting to the event before the end of the year. 10 agency managers so we can hit that board member status, and then 50 unique writers a month. We want to hit that by June.
There we go. Awesome. Hey, that's cool stuff. All right, so that's big. In your income, I think you were telling me I know you told me what it was for 2024 when we were talking. How big a jump did we have from 2023 to 2024 in income?
Yeah, so 2023, we ended up with 160 for income, and then 2024 we ended up at 218.
Okay. So about a 50-60% increase in income. That's exciting. And then planning for a big goal to go from 218 to 750. All right. So what's it going to take? So I know you talk about the goals. What, as you try to be realistic with yourself, what are the things that you've already put in play over the last 2 or 3 months of things that you've got to do to make that big a leap?
Yeah, absolutely. Seminars. So we're doing a few shifts in the business with us. So personally, I'm doing, both of us are doing the seminars. So for the personal production side, which has been mainly me going out running, hitting final expense, which still doing final expense appointments, still going out face to face, but shifting gears on doing the seminars this year. And we already have one set up that's going to be happening in February. So our goal is to hit 5 of those this year for the seminars. So continuing bringing in, issue paid business, on my own pen like that, and then having our team do seminars too. So we've had some great success from another team member, Demetrius. She's out in Alabama killing it and doing an amazing job. And I think a lot of the other guys in our team are seeing it. And, we're moving forward on those seminars so we can lead from the front and be able to showcase it to our team members, and for us to be able to go out and travel and help them do them. Because I know when Demetrius was down in Alabama knocking hers out, Kate went down there and was helping with anything she could. She was jumping in, all hands on deck, just learning a lot of the stuff that you don't see until you're really getting through it. You know what I mean? So our goal is to have 10 of our agents on our team doing seminars before the end of the year. And I think that's what's going to really help us do that jump that we've seen with a lot of the other teams on across the country. You see the income levels increasing. I mean, the leaderboards are going crazy towards last year. The issue paid business, and I want to have more people be a part of it. I want more guys on our team to hit those new levels, succeed, and get these guys going faster to obtaining their goals. So.
Yeah, awesome. Here's what I like that you said that I'm hoping some people catch. You're still planning to run final expense as you're doing the seminars, and you're continuing to chase the bunts and singles. You're not stepping up into the batter's box and just trying to hit a grand slam every once in a while. You seem to understand, okay, I need to stay on the basics while I'm building out this other part of my business. And I think as we've seen people come through that fire, if there's a message to anybody here, whether a leader or an agent, hey, your productivity in the basics of our business on the life and health side and running appointments is key, because guess what? When we're sitting down with a person in the estate planning one-on-one appointment, that's a final expense thing. And your selling skills are required. And if you don't have any selling skills yet from doing final expense, and you're talking about death and what happens when you die, if you ain't developed that, you're going to be really frustrated when you're thinking, oh, these estate planning clients, I thought they wanted to buy it because they said they was coming in. Doesn't that mean? No, you are going to have to use your mouth and tongue to talk to them and know what to say and how to do stuff. So I think if anybody's here, don't poo-poo the basics. Don't think I'm above that. No, you need to get good at it if you're going to jump into that space. Otherwise, you might be greatly disappointed. And I think some of us, look, we've had a few people that lost a finger or a limb or whatever along the way because maybe we thought, oh, this is awesome. We knew there would be learning. We were probably surprised at how much those that had a good foundation on the basics, on their in-home skills, did really well when it came to the one-on-one meetings on the estate planning side and leading the clients through to follow through on the process. So that's big. So I think as you're building and growing, and as some other leaders, making sure as we're building our team that people are learning the basics as they're jumping into that space. So that's huge. That's big. Kate, I did not even know, Kate, that you've been out helping on the estate planning side. That fires me up. That's so cool. What's the biggest thing you took away from like being part of those seminars? What hit you? What surprised you?
There's a lot of moving pieces. I think Belle does a really great job with everything she does, but she does a really great job at simplifying it. And so I think I was unexpecting of how many moving parts there were. So it was, like Mike said, it was really helpful to go down and actually see everything, see all the papers that were printed and the order that they went in, and see the PowerPoint and get my hands dirty with, moving slides around and that sort of thing. So I think it just helps to, I don't know, at least for me, it helped to see all the moving parts before we dove in. Because now when we do ours, it's going to be a lot simpler for us. I think we've got an idea of what to do already. So,
yeah. And I think, you know what, as we've looked at it, there's different levels of skill to them. Kind of like when we talk about a final expense. Well, you got to get your phone skills right. You got to get your in-home skills in terms of connecting with the people. You got to figure out how to read their policies. You got to get your underwriting right. You got to make sure you're not overselling. How do we get good at referrals? Like all those phases on an in-home. Guess what? There's phases that we've discovered on the estate planning, like, hey, how do you choose your location? How do you get the library to understand that this is a not-for-profit meeting if you're going to use a library? And how do we do that? How do we make sure we got the right data in the mailing to get the right people in? And then we're going to work with Cindy, or we're going to work with Evan. And then it's like, oh, once people start registering, hey, when do we call to help cement and confirm their appointments? Then, how do I do a presentation? I got a funny story. I won't name the person because I don't have permission to go public with everybody. But I know somebody that did a presentation. And as he did his presentation, he was reading it. This is how bad this person was. And as he's reading the presentation, there's this point where there's a joke in there. And he's reading the joke. And nobody laughed. But in the script, it says, "Thank you for laughing at my joke." And nobody laughed. In fact, of the 11 people that showed up, 8 people walked out. But guess what? That person got better. And he got through. We laugh about that story privately, but he's now issuing annuity business and crushing it, and he got through the fire. But guess what? Your presentation you're going to have to work on, right?
Yep.
Then you've got to be good at booking the appointments afterwards, calling them up. Then you got to get good at how am I doing at the intake, and then we got to get good at following through to get them back in, and escorting them through the estate implementation, and then bring them back to that financial review. There's pieces of it, but guess what? We've got winners that have figured it out, and if you're doing it and communicating, you will get the coaching you need. I mean, that's the craziest thing I've seen. We've got a team that has been sharing information like crazy, and that's what's going to happen in Dallas on the 23rd and 24th at that estate planning. So, anyways, you got me thinking about that. So I know you guys are learning, but I want people to understand. Hey, it's amazing. It's not going to be easy, but it's predictable, and everybody that's paid attention and made adjustments is winning. And that's what amazes me, how many people are winning and how big a knowledge base we have to tap into going into 2025. All right. Mike, talk to me a little bit about some of the things that have helped you working with agents, kind of as you're getting them rolling, you're recruiting. What are things you've done to help them build relationships?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I know when we're bringing in new agents, we're getting that checklist done of, one thing after the other for them to get going. But I know last year that we've probably done the most of is incorporating Kate, having a conversation with them as well, where, before when she was working at her other job, it was kind of tough for her to have that schedule and that availability to jump in and be there for a lot of our agents. So now that's been more freed up where she's got the kids, and then, when the kids are at school and we've got that opportunity, she's able to, build that relationship with these agents. So when they're coming on, it's yes, I can train, right? I can do the ATM, I can do the phone scripts, the in-home help, all of that. So I can really go in with the tactical side when we're building, up a brand new agent. And, Kate's been able to come in and put that touch on it where, she gets to know that person more, starts building a relationship, knows about their family, connects on a different level. So it's kind of helped us throw that wider net out when we're bringing new people on to, show them that, hey, we care about you. We want to be able for you to win, and we want to know more about your situation and what's going on. And, she's been able to step in and do an amazing job with it. And I think it's starting to show with, the leaders that are stepping up on our team. So we're excited.
That's good. So I know you talk about Kate having impact, and then on the part where you've been traveling more, how many cities have you been hitting, and what have you been doing? So Kate, that certainly had a huge impact, and what else have you done on your side?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been hitting a lot of different cities throughout the year. I'd have to look. I definitely hit A-list member status on Southwest. That's for sure, which is awesome. OKC, been out there. Sebastian, LaQuinta, we did one of the first hotspots out there last year, which was really exciting with one of my main guys, Kendall Brown. So that was a blast kicking that off. A lot of fun. We had a great time, during the training and afterwards. Salt Lake City, Atlanta. Couldn't tell you how many times I've been out to Atlanta, but I stayed consistent with Detroit, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, OKC. And it wasn't just, me going out, just doing a training or a boot camp. Yes, I did the boot camps. I ran those, the hotspot trainings, getting people there with Stephen Davies and Joe Dukes. And, it's been not just the hotspots, but, I've gone and I've run business with these guys too. So I've gotten in the car, I've done that windshield time, I've gotten the no-shows with these guys. I know I get them when I get out on the field, and I know what it's like. And I know when I go out and I sit in the car, with Kendall Brown, and we go run appointments for the day, and he sees me get the door slammed on my face, I think it kind of brings, more of a a human side to it that, hey, it does happen. Because, I've explained this in my trainings too. It's like, when I go to the door and I go to knock it or for an appointment, I still get that nervous feeling in my gut, going up to that house. And I think a lot of people can relate to that do it. And, when I go out in the field and I don't make a sale, I think it just shows them, hey, it does happen. It's the law of large numbers. It's that go for no mentality, right? If you see enough people when you're out in the field that, if you just see enough people, period, there's going to be people that are going to say yes. There are people that are going to say yes to your opportunity, whether it's the recruiting or the selling side. But I know when I went out more and more on those trips and I was doing boot camps and I was helping these guys get in front of the room. I know, like, I did a boot camp in Detroit and I got Kendall Brown from OKC to come with me to Detroit, which was awesome. He traveled with me to Detroit, which was huge. And, that was on his dime. He did it, made it happen. We went out there and I put him in front of the room. Like, we did a boot camp. We had 50 plus people there. I gave him two, 3 times, of talking time in front of the room. And he had never been in front of an audience or like a public speaking before. And he killed it. Like, we had so many people come up afterwards and just saying like going up to him. I saw the congratulations he was getting from people that were at the boot camp. And it's like, after seeing that happen, what do you think was going on for his numbers? All of his numbers just started going up. It was exciting to see the AP going up, bringing new people on. Same thing with Tim Bird out in Atlanta. He was, I've gone out to Atlanta, I've done the hot spots, and then we did a boot camp and I put him in front of the room. And after he's in front of the room, he's always very consistent with his schedule. We just started seeing, higher numbers from him. And I think it boosted some confidence for them to be able to get in front of people. And, that's what we're trying to do here is just, help others, develop, what they already have inside them. All of them have it in there. It's just a matter of them breaking that shell. And I think sometimes we help with just like that little crack of that shell for them to just break out of it themselves. And I know that helped out a lot last year by getting face to face with a lot of teammates.
Now, here's something. And so if somebody's a leader and they're like, hey, I'm thinking I need to go out and travel. I said, yeah. The answer is yes. Now, was every person you flew out to see a success?
No.
Did you have some people, maybe you flew out to see them and like you got there, did anybody no-show you when you was flying out to see them?
I've had no-shows where I've done the drives. I did what did I do? I had a 4.5 hour drive and I went out to St. Louis. And I was expecting, a group of agents coming, and it wasn't a group. It ended up being a one-on-one meeting, which was fine. That's part of it, man. And I couldn't. Lewantowicz, man, you've been to the meetings over the years. Andy, all you guys. It's like I remember coming to a hotspot in Chicago years ago with Albright, and I was like. I felt embarrassed because it's just like no one was showing up, and and Albright was still there with me, just like putting the chairs up. Or we went out to a dinner one time in Miami, and he was like, I invited this couple out, and they just didn't show up. Like they did a no-show to me, and that was like Albright. I was like, wait, this happens to you too? Like people just no-show you like this? And I think once I saw that, it was just like, wow, okay, that's part of it. It's part of the law of large numbers. You're going to find the ones that won't and the ones that will, and you run with the ones that are on your side that are showing up.
That's big. All right, so the heart to travel, to go out and serve, put in the work. So you're doing you're leading by example of what you're doing. Now, here's another question. Somebody's going to say, well, Mike, when do you decide you're going to travel? Do you do it like the day after they fill out their contracting, or are you given a chance to prove themselves and see if they're going to work first, or when do you decide you're going to go out and spend some time with someone?
Yeah, absolutely. So I look at a few different things. If they have tickets to NatCon, that usually is a big indicator. A ticket to the next event is a really, really, really big indicator because we build this business event to event. The 8 steps, Are they reading? Are they getting through their books? Are they accomplishing the tasks? If I give them something simple like, hey, jump on TWC, here's the link, or hey, get a part of our group chat and join this. Are they clicking through it? Are they doing the carrier contracting? It's like I'm testing them with those small easy things and having that build up. And the more things that I see them knocking out and coming back to me, that's when I'm like, all right, cool. I like this person. They're doing the things that I'm laying out in front of them. They're not taking 2 weeks to put their ATM together. They're knocking out the video, downloading the PowerPoint, calling me back because, hey, this thing ain't working. How do I put the pictures on it? I'm like, cool. This dude's making moves. This is what I like. So when someone's taking action, I trust action is what I do, is I trust action. So if they're knocking things out and I'm giving that slow underhand pitch, softball pitch to them for them to knock it out. But if they're just letting it go, it gives me, I guess, a realization to focus on someone else. And, so I look for that.
We're not doing it for everybody, but we're looking, hey, who's stepping up? Who can I pour more into? I think that's big. Okay. Well, that's good stuff. I appreciate that. Let's see. So you talked a little bit about tickets to NatCon, and for somebody that's making a quality decision to go, I think some people have asked me, why should I go? In fact, for those that don't know, we've got breakout sessions with more skill development. If you were at our national boot camp, we've taken some of the things that we liked and we've turned that and I think made it even better. So like we already know that there's this whole estate planning section being done early on the 23rd and the morning of the 24th, but I know that there's a Medicare breakout session. I believe there's an IUL. For those who are doing telesale, there's even a telesale breakout session. Whatever it is, these breakout sessions are there. Next week, you will see a magazine that shows you the breakout sessions. And so if you're there and you're like, hey, which one should I go to? Get with the leader that's coaching you and say, hey, which one should I be prioritizing? So that when you get to a conference, and you're kind of, hey, here's where I need to go to get the most out of my event. Because there's going to be several ones, and certain ones may be more valuable to you based on where you're at. So the good news is we're going to have heads up with that coming out next week, not the day before the event, but literally next week, so you can start to plan. But I would make sure, hey, you've got your event ticket. Make sure you've got your hotel. Make sure you got your flight. A lot of inexpensive tickets can be had when you're flying into DFW or Love Field down there. So all good. Mike and Kate, thank you so much for putting in the work last year. Thank you so much for setting a good example, being fun to hang out with. I mean, we've had fun hanging out with you on trips and elsewhere, but I appreciate that y'all making a bigger difference and have some big goals set up for this year. So keep rocking.
Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks, guys.
All right. Next up, we've got a couple who is jamming. You've already seen a part of their organization on this team, on this call. Part of their team's on this call. They are doing a bunch of stuff, constantly recruiting, leading, finding good people. You're seeing duplication within their organization. They've hit, board member and are moving on. But happy to have them with us. We got Jason and Olga Mathis, and I'm so glad to have you guys on this call.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
Okay.
All right. Give us a quick, hey, who are you guys? What were y'all doing before you found the Alliance? Take a minute to go back in time.
Well, thank you so much, Jane and Andy, for giving me the opportunity to be in this call. And I'm so grateful, so much gratitude for them because give us the opportunity to be with the Alliance. I love the Alliance. And thank you to Andy and Angela, and of course, our amazing team that without them, we couldn't be where we are. But I used to be a luggage handler. I used to work in American Airlines for 25 years, Mike. And I had a question for you, Mike. You know how much a 747 weight, that big plane? You have an idea?
I have no idea.
Okay. So the 747 is a huge plane with the passengers in the back is about 910,000 pounds. And me, my little me, 125 pounds, I used to push that planes. Is that crazy? Obviously, in a big, how you call it? A big machine. We used to I used to push the planes, and I struggle a lot to learning that. And I used to put 150 bags in a belly of airplane. In June, July, 120 degrees in the belly.
Show them the guns.
So when I finished putting the bags, I was red like a tomato. That was like somebody throw a bunch of water on me, because we worked so hard. My back, my knees, my shoulders was really bad of that heavy lifting. And now I said, my God, I cannot believe I'm doing insurance. I am with the Alliance.
You gotta lift the iPad now.
Yeah, now I have an iPad and I look like I am really, really smart. So nothing is impossible. We all, through all these struggles, and these struggles help us to go to the next struggles. And I'm so proud and so grateful, because I never thought that I can do what I'm doing right now. From luggage handler, no school, no college degree. I don't even speak perfect English. I try. I speak better now. I only said, I don't have an accent anymore, right, Mike? No accent. But I'm so grateful for the Alliance that give us this opportunity. And I never thought that I can do what I'm doing right now, so I'm so grateful. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, Mike, I remember when I met you, man, and I was like, I want to be friends with that dude. You and Katz and Fitz and Riddle, Chris Long, Davies. I was just like, I like those guys. I saw you guys on stage. I admired you from afar. Diane Lampy, I was like, cool people. Albright, Jane, I was like, you guys had a great relationship. And I was like, man, I want to, if I'm going to do this business, so thank you for, Mike, Andy and Jane, thanks for starting the business and creating this culture that would create a Mike and Noelle Lewantowicz. And Mike, thank you for being a great leader and coaching me. Throughout the years, I have went to you on several different occasions, and you've coached me in this business. So I just want to say thank you, man. I love you. And thank you for doing that and being a role model that I can follow. It's been inspirational, and I say that from the bottom of my heart.
That's right.
But I remember when my wife got in this business, and I was like, Mike, I swear to God, it's like, it's so funny, or it's so interesting to me, the thread of how people get into whatever they get into, be it drugs, be it professional sports, be it a career they get into, be it the insurance business with the Alliance, right? And I think about what I was doing when the Alliance came knocking onto my life. What was I doing? And there I was, Mike. There I was, bro. Cubeland USA, corporate America. I was suckling from the teat of corporate America. I had been crushed. Dude, I was so crushed. I got crushed. I lost millions and millions of dollars in coming out at the end of 2007. And I got and a lot of us did. There's literally about 5 people who bet the right way on that whole real estate debacle. And there's a movie on it, and they go through those dudes in that movie. Okay. I was not smart enough to see it. There's about 5 dudes that were. I completely missed it. And we lost a bunch of stuff. I went crawling back to corporate America. So I was working at corporate America. We called it Mama Bamel, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, right? And I think we had almost 1,000 people doing the same job I did. I was a mortgage loan officer. The phone would ring. I'd take incoming calls, purchase, refinance, get people into a residential mortgage, right? And my wife was working at American Airlines as a luggage handler, and after 2 shoulder surgeries, she took an early out retirement package, and she had to go get a job. She didn't work for 9. Now, she doesn't tell this, and we're getting real on this freaking call today. The Alliance, hello, Alliance family. We're getting real with Olga Mathis' real story today. It's all coming out, Mike. So The girl didn't work for 9 months. Okay, Sebastian and Mr. Mike Maurici. Olga took a 9-month vacation while her poppy was busting his tail at corporate America. And it's a grind at corporate America, man. They're micromanagement city. You go to the bathroom and you don't put yourself in the right computer reading. Matthew, my supervisor there, would have on my computer, see me before you log in. And I like, hey, Matthew, what's up? Hey, man, listen, you didn't code out right, and it's going to be on my report tomorrow. And if you do it again this week, I'm going to write you up because it affects my bonus, and it's going to affect my bonus. And if you do it 3 more times this month, I'm going to fire you. Yeah, I swear to God, man, it was terrible. So I'm working there. She didn't work for 9 months, and I'm like, sweetie. And I got a problem with my wife. I got a super big issue with my wife. She's cute as hell, and that makes it difficult to get her to do things. She talks me into a lot of stuff, and I don't want to do a lot of this stuff, but she's cute, so it's a problem, right? So I'm like, please, can you, like, I want to retire one day. I'm at corporate America. Like, can you get a job doing something? She's like, well, I don't know what I'm qualified for, and blah, blah, blah. So she goes out and get a job at Dillard's selling women's clothing. She's making no money at all. They're paying her $13 an hour, and she's selling clothes, but every day, Mike, she's coming home with a bag or two. And I'm like, what in the fuck? No, Olga, you're leaving all the money at Dillard's.
That was the perfect job.
It was the perfect worst job for Olga.
Oh, crazy.
It was crazy to me. So she does that, and
Your mic, hey, by the way, Jason, your mic shifted, I think. I don't know. I was hearing you clearer, then it sounds like you're way distant all of a sudden.
yeah, I moved. But how about now?
That's better, much better.
All right. So anyway, so she was doing that, and so she's like, I'm going to get into the insurance business. A buddy of mine at Mama Bamel said, hey, they cut our commission. That's what they do at corporate America. Matthew, my supervisor, I had trained him 2 years earlier. He came out of training. They paralleled him with me. I trained him up when the management position came up. Guess who they gave the job to? Because he had went to the University of Florida and had the right credentials. And of course, I don't have a 4-year college degree. He got the job. Anyway, so I'm like, Mark, I'm not doing insurance. I'm going to climb my way into lower middle management as high as I can get. That was my plan. But I said, maybe Olga wants to do it because, Mike, I knew there was money in insurance. I had never really looked at it, never studied it, but I knew there was money. So she got her license, and she forced me to get in there to license because I could tutor her. I did not want to get my license, okay, but she forced me. And you know the problem I got with Olga. So I got into class, I was tutoring her. She got the license, and she plugged into this company called The Alliance. And she passed her exam on the 3rd attempt, and I was like, oh, my God, now I really got to check this company out because I had never heard of The Alliance. I'd never heard of Andy Albright. He is a phenom in the insurance industry. He's like the LeBron James or the Michael Jordan of this business, or kind of like the IBM might be a better analogy. But anyway, so I was like, all right, now I got to go up to their corporate office to check them out. So we did a corporate tour. I talked to Riddle. I'm like, hey, man, does the Alliance do any corporate tours so we can go up there and check it out? This is my joke to Riddle. I was like, hey, I just want to make sure, you guys aren't running this thing out of a P.O. box or a rent office. And so he's like, yeah, it's called President's Club. So I did that. We went up there and did a tour, and it was, they fit 3 or 4 Walmarts up there. So I was like, oh my God, this guy's got lead generation. People it's legit. There's no free giveaway to entice people to fill. I'm like, oh my God, if my wife can't make it work here, she ain't gonna make it work nowhere. So she started doing that. I was super impressed. And Sebastian and you and Mike touched on it today. The team is what is so successful, Mike. And I was super impressed with that. And she did it, and a year and a half later, this little girl was making $9,000 a month, spending about $300 to $400 a week on lead cost. And she wasn't following the whole program. She wasn't that good at getting annuity money. She was terrible at getting referrals, to be honest with you. Like, and she's still making all this money. And I was like, this is a great ROI on the $350 a week she is spending on things. And I got it all tracked, man. I'm telling you, I tracked it all. And so $350 a week on leads and making $9,200 a month in deposits. And I was fired up. And then I was like, I'm going to start doing insurance. And I started getting training from you Diane, Stephen, Fitz, Albright, of course. I got 3 days of world-class training from Andy Albright. I called his office. I was like, I got 80 hours of PTO anytime Mr. Albright wants to train me. I drove my tail up there and got 3 days of world-class training from Andy Albright, and, of course, plugged into Andy Riddle. And he's been coaching me, mentoring me ever since. And then I put an ad on, joined this thing called President's Club. I think it's $500 a month. It should be. I think we pay $99 a month for it. And I was called up there, talked to Clay Murtis, and I was like, Clay, what should I be doing to talk to people? And he said, back then Craigslist was working pretty good. He said, put this ad out there. I looked at it. I changed some stuff on it, added some pictures on mine because they didn't do pictures, and I added pictures. I think that's what got Terry. And then Terry and Tia responded. And, man, I'll tell you, we found them, and that's where we were at, Mike. And we just have been kicking it. We got a tribe, dude. We got a pack of people that we just love running with is what we found. We got lucky, too, because there's a lot of bull out there. We just got lucky as hell, man.
That's crazy. Jason, all right, so I can remember going back this real quick. I can remember I was on a plane. Andy ran the jet for us to hit a few cities. I remember Olga being with us and hitting a couple cities. I can remember. I knew she was, stuff was moving, but I can remember we got back to the headquarters. And Olga, I can remember you sitting in a conference room just in tears talking about how you're trying to figure out your pending business. Like you were having success, you figured out the right, and there's other stories I know we could talk about in your progress, but I just remember, and I was just like, she's got a heart to win. It's like, I'm so excited for when she figures this out, because I knew you were upset, but you were asking questions, trying to get better. And so that's always amazing that you guys never stopped asking for help, even when you hit a frustrating moment. So I was just I was thinking about that as you were talking. But hey, let's give people a snapshot of, hey, what are some of the things that were highlights for your year in 2024? Things that you were intentional about doing that helps drive bigger results for you guys. Olga, you want to start things that you've been smart about this past year?
Well, one of the things that I'm so blessed is that some people think that because they have this level, they stop working, and I have to lead. How you say lead from the front?
Lead from the front.
From the front. So I have to keep selling, but I have another goals that I want to do. But I still made the trip to, even that we make it through agency managers. But I'm so happy because sometimes I'm not working like I used to. And I'm working just with my current clients and spending time with my grandson and all that. And 2024 was super crazy because our life changed so much, so many things, spending time with my daughter, traveling and all that. And I still made the trip. And I said, look, Jason, you say that I'm not working like I used to, but I still make the trip. What the heck? What is going on here? But so super excited for the opportunity, super excited to know that no matter where you go, you can work. I can go to Chicago and see my grandson and work there too. So that is the beauty of our business, is no matter where you are, you can work. So yeah.
Real quick, so Olga, right now, for where you're at, are you doing face-to-face final expense? Are you doing some telesale? What's your blend of business for your personal production?
Great question. Thank you. I used to go more to see my clients. Now I'm trying to copy Erica and Olivia, that they doing it from the house, and they come to our rally points and they do it from there. And I say, when I'm going to be good like them, because I usually go and drive and see everybody. But now, working with my current clients, I'm doing more telesales now. Sometimes when somebody like more older people, they want to see you. And I say, yeah, I can go and see you and spend a little time there with them. And I still go and I still do it from the house too.
Okay. And I think that's a great point, because we've seen people come into the business and maybe they've heard somewhere that, oh, yeah, telesale, you just sit around in your underwear and you don't have to go to work and people just send you money. It don't work like that.
No.
What we've seen is the people that learn the business face-to-face then can jump into the telesale side because they know the core of the business. And like where I see most people succeed is they start with their current clients, then maybe they tap and weave into some other things. But keeping your one foot in that face-to-face pool, I think, is big, especially if you're going to jump in and learn the estate planning side. The skills you develop there are going to be really critical. So I like the fact that you're being smart about how you're weaving in. I think that's huge.
Yeah, I still tell my new agents, I said, you have to do the basics, go to the house, and it's easier to connect with people. But when I see Olivia and Erica teaching the new agents how to sell it in telesales, and it's not that easy. It's not that easy. For me, it's better to go and connect and learn and do the basics. But Erica and Olivia are doing an awesome job with the new agents too.
Good, awesome. So I know for those that are seasoned enough to want to learn more, there will be a telesale breakout session. So if you're going to our conference, or if you're not, there's another reason to go. But if you think you're ready to learn that side of the business, there's a whole breakout session that's going to be geared to that. So heads up on that. Okay. So you say you've stayed focused. You've not gotten too big for your britches. You said, I'm going to keep leading from the front on the selling side. I love it. How much are you issuing on a monthly basis right now, Olga, on premium?
Sometimes 20,000, sometimes it's like an average about 10,000, 12,000, right? Issue. Because like I said, I'm not working like I used to. I mean, but even like that,
you're working more with agents. I think you're less in sales, but you work more with some agents and developing them. I would say that's, you know what I mean?
Okay. Jason, what's some of the things that you were intentional about doing to help drive growth in 2024?
Yeah, well, I mean, you say that, and just what my mind goes to is like, what did I screw up last year? Like, how can I get better? But I'll tell you, and this is just a frank call. I'm just talking to my friends here that I'm trying to help them grow their business and not make the mistakes I made. So we were the number one recruiter nationwide for 3 years in a row, 21, 22, 23. And it's weird, you find something that works and then you change it up, So I thought I was pretty smart in 2024. I did something different and I shouldn't have done it. And I didn't really consult with Riddle or Albright. That's always a bad move. So, I didn't. And I what I did, Mike, is I decided to try to offload some of the interviewing and recruiting stuff that I personally was doing to my assistant and let them try to do it. And, either because I'm a poor trainer or they're a poor learner, probably I'm a poor trainer. The transition didn't go as well. Like one of the things, our interview, the pickup rate went from like 50% to 38%, just different things that we track, and so stuff like that. But what we do is we've been doing this since 2013, and every single year we've been in business. I don't know what we made 2023, but last year, 2024, we made more money every single year, Michael. It's been crazy. So we've made more money every year than we've had with the Alliance in the year before, and we're proud of that.
Okay.
Through all, and we're very proud of that. And we're proud of the system and the team we plugged into. We try to get good at the basics, man. If you try to get too fancy with some stuff, you can fancy yourself out of a good system. You know what I mean?
And I want to say something really quick. The growth for 2024, to see agents in our team to grow so much, like Marnie, Sabrina, Donnie and Robin, that team working estate planning, last year they paid $3.6 million.
Yeah, as a team.
Crazy. Right now they have $975,000 in the pipeline. So they sell Medicare, they sell everything. Seeing new people like Jerry and Rachel that they growing and now they want to go in estate planning too. It's so great to see Terry and Tia and his team. Look, LaQuinta and Sebastian, now they're going to jump in this estate planning. Yeah. Beth Island, I was talking to her this morning and she said, yeah, I have to start to do estate planning. And said, yeah, Terry and Tia is telling me that too. So it's great.
See, the power of the team, that's what it's right there is a great example. here's Sebastian and LaQuinta, and I don't know if they talked to Terry and Tia how they were going to get into estate planning, and you touched on it, Mike. You got to get the bunts and the singles and the doubles in, and that's what they're doing. And what did they do? They got into their book of business. See, every client you have is like a little fruit tree. And they said, we've got all these trees out there, and it's already bearing fruit for life insurance, Medicare, accident only, term life, whole life, burial, final expense. Hey, before we spend $5,000-$6,000 on a mailer, have all that money that's going to take 3-4 months, 5 months to bear any fruit, why don't we check all these trees we currently got and just market to them that we've already have a great relationship with? So, man, kudos to whoever did that, Sebastian. I mean, and LaQuinta, just that is see, that's what I'm talking about, having a core group of people in your life. Somebody said it on one of these calls, the TWC. Albright did. Be careful who is coaching you. Be very careful who you allow inside of here. You know, and what I'm doing, you know, last year, this year, I'm going to try to get even better at this year, Mike, is just, you know, spending the appropriate amount of time with agents that deserve the time. Like, I remember when I recruited, you know, Albright said, when I recruited Terry, you know, and people say, when you find somebody good, throw gas on it. Terry was the type of guy, that joker carried his own gas.
That's right.
That's how Terry was. I didn't need to throw gas on Terry. Terry's like, what? Got some right here. Pow! Like, that's just how Terry, nobody needed to throw gas on Terry. You know what I mean? He came that way. You see, you know, so I was, you know, and I just remember that. So that's what you're looking for. Not every, you know, that's what you're looking for. You know, you're looking for, so when I recruit, I'm looking for people, Mike, I got to get better. When you chat with people and you talk to them, I've got to get better at finding out where they're at. Because then I know how much time I got to spend with them. Maurici was saying it. Mike was saying it. And you were asking him, hey, did you meet a dud? Did you get a no-show? He's like, well, I was supposed to meet a group of people. It was in a one-on-one. You know, how are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? Do they know how to judge a resume? Like, if you meet Mike Maurici and you don't immediately know he's a bad mamma jamma and you should get to know him, and the Chambers and the Edwards. See, when I look at my squad, my team, and I think I got Riddle, okay? I got Andy Albright. I got Mike and Noel Lewantowicz. I got Diane Lampy. I got Fitz. I got Davies. I got Alex Abian. I got Alex Abian. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, we've got this squad of people. You know, I've got something going on in my agency now, and the good news is I really don't got to figure it out. I just got to call Riddle and be on the same page with Riddle. And I called Riddle. I'm like, hey, man, this is what's going on. He's like, hey, look, this is how we handle it. As long as me and you are on the same page, it's all good. So you know, I talked to him today about it on the way into this call, coming to the office. And I was just like, this is the power of this business, guys. Guys, we have a business in a box system, Mike. And you really, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, you really don't got to figure it out. So,
hey, Jay, you hit me a thought. So when we were chatting a little bit yesterday, we talked about one of the things, when we talk about recruiting, in fact, you triggered a couple thoughts. One is we're talking about Nat Kind going in. There are 2 recruiting contests that are still rolling that people should be aware of. I want to draw their attention, and it made me think of something you and I were talking about yesterday. So first is there's this protege recruiter contest and the apprentice recruiter contest and the hierarchies recruiting contest. Those are all going on through the 20th of January. And there's a number of people on the bubbles. And so if you're one of those people, I'd be like, hey, how do I move up into that? Because for those that don't know, and this ties into that, if you're in that group, you're going to get an invite to the most exclusive restaurant and steakhouse in the state of Texas. It is the Integrity Club. It is at the top of the tower at Fountain Square. And the only people that can get in there is an integrity partner or a special guest or invitation from them, with you're part of their party, basically. And so Andy has reserved the whole restaurant or the club for that night with Brian Adams' permission. And so Andy's got a number of spots he can fill. I promise you, that place is bad to the bone. It's got a telescope on this 53rd floor pointed at the grassy knoll where JFK was shot. It's just one thing. It's got its own ice cubes that they order by the case that have the integrity eye on it. It's crazy. It's worth fighting for if you're on the recruiting side. So I wanted to mention that and give a shout out. Some people don't know the leaderboards are in the ARC. You can go see it and see where you're at. They were just updated this morning. So take a look. But it's going on to the 20th. Okay. Now, bringing forward. So, Jason, I know you've led on the recruiting side. There's something you were saying yesterday about as you start working with an agent, about how you think about them or how frequently you think about them. Talk a little bit about what you've learned and done and gotten better there.
I'll tell you what, in the beginning, Mike, I didn't reach out to people. I was like, people should know who I am. I got a hell of a resume. They should be reaching out to me. They should be fighting to get around me. And that's not the right way to think. So now when someone pops in my mind, I call them. So I'm reaching more out to the agency owners, reaching out to them. You can contact me or my assistant. I can send you an account. You can book on a calendar with me. I got all that. Everybody's got all that, right? But it's just the call that I call you at 10 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, hey, man, what's up? What's your day look like? How you doing? And it's, what do you need help with? What can I do to help you grow your team? Is there a particular goal you're looking for? Like, what do you need? And then here's another thing, too. I didn't mention it. One of the powerful things is I love looping people in on people, like pulling in a riddle. Like when I get somebody
I don't want to interrupt, but I do. I want that to sink in what you said before about taking the time to care enough to keep somebody present in mind and to reach out. I see I've seen some people that will hire people and don't do that, and some people that do. Andy and even Jane have an amazing ability to do that. I watch Alex Abian and Jenny Abian. They have an amazing ability to reach out and care about people that they're working with. And I think it's as a leader, because I've seen people go, well, I recruited them. They should know what to do. I say, you don't understand. It's almost like if you've raised kids, what I've realized is you have to think about a newer agent almost as frequently as a child and be looking out for them. So I don't want to just skip over that because I think that's such a huge thing. And if you've learned that, I know that a huge piece of your growth getting a board member.
It's like riding a bike. It's easy to ride a bike now, but it was scary as SHIT when you jumped on that thing for the first time. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, we can't forget that. So just reaching out to people and do it more than less. And another great thing is like when we, Jared and Rachel Doucette, like I fell in love with them jokers straight away. Like I was just head over heels for them guys. Like, I mean, I was just off a cliff. Okay. From the very first picture they sent me of them, I was like a 20s. They were dressed as 20s, like people from the 20s at some kind of costume party. I mean, that is chic. That is cool. I mean, who does that? And I got them on the phone right then and there, and I loved them ever since. But then I got Riddle on them. Then we got Albright on them. And then we're trying to get different people of quality, of caliber, of essence that have some sense that can talk to them and influence them in their business, because they're saying they want to build a big business. He's saying he wants to not be a 45, 50-year-old man all nutted up, slinging welding material and lead and hot molten metal. And so
now he's number one in recruiting.
That's right.
He passed you, Jay. What happened?
Oh, crazy. All right.
Well,
so what's a couple of things that y'all know you're doing moving forward? We talked about kind of what got you there through this year. What's something you're putting the foot on the gas hard going into 2025? We're doing. I love the fact that Albright brought on this estate planning. It fits the company need. It's a great fit for our company. We have the intellectual capital within the company that people can do it. Sebastian has it.
there's We Can Rock It Out. Look at the Disney Princess Belle Krause, what I call her, and Marnie Frank. They're awesome at this. And my wife is on board now with the estate planning. So
the amazing thing is that I said, okay, I sell life insurance, I final expenses, IULs, but I want to go to the next level. What is the next level? But I got scared because I said, that is a lot, like Kate said, it's a lot of pieces. And I said, I don't know if I can do that. And then talking to Moni and all that, I said, yes, you can do this. And Sabrina, why not? You can do it. And then I decided this 2025 to give me a chance. And then when I decide to do it, I said, let me call Belle Krause, and I talked to her, and she said, Olga, why not? This is the next level. This is the new thing. This is the new era. Why not? That is the right way to say era. And then now I'm starting, but let me tell you guys, I'm so scared that at night, sometimes I wake up at the middle of the night, worry. I say, oh my God, I'm going to be able to do this so much. So I tell you, I start to read the book that I read a long time ago, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, from Dale Carnegie. That is the most amazing book because that helped me a lot years ago when I couldn't even sleep about...
Couldn't even work a penny.
Now I'm reading the book again because I start to feel that pressure, like I'm taking the videos, reading a book about estate planning, the 3 buckets, and I said, oh my God, this is so much, and I don't know a lot. So I start to get more confident and so excited for 2025 because when I see all these people making so much money, I say, why not us? Why not me? Why not you? Why not us? Right, Mike? So that is that I am the most excited.
So we want more people doing the estate, the appropriate, we want people that can have that talent, that like Jared, he's like, hey, I want to learn this stuff the appropriate. Jared's got a plan to bring this on. He's not willy-nilly. He's not cutting off what he's doing. We've got a plan in place to do it. So, we are fired up about 2025, when I'm just, dude, it's going to be crazy.
Hey, you brought up something, and Olga, as you're talking about, I don't know if our AMP Studios people can pull this up. Either I can share it. I just pulled it up. It's the infinity income concept, and I think it applies to what Olga said, or if anybody else is planning to do something different in 2025 to grow their business, either T, if you can let me share my screen, or if you can share, if you want to pull up that document and share that. It's on NAA University, so I don't know if the staff can do that for me. It just kind of hit me that this really applies. And I don't know if I do have a share ability. Let me see if I know. It's not turned on for me. So if they can get it, that's great. If not, I'll point out to people, if you go to Alliance University or NAAuniversity.com, you click on resources and you go into the section that, it says other tools, and then it's the infinity income concept. And here's what it's laying out graphically. When you are starting something new, you're kind of growing and you're going up this curve. Maybe I should go this way, okay? And then there's a point where you make a change. You hire a staff person. You start to learn Medicare. You hire your first agent. You're going to do something different. You're going to try a new lead type. Your productivity is going to go down at first from the main things that have been making you money as you're implementing this new thing and as this starts to grow. So your main thing is going to drop as your income starts to grow from the new activity. And so in this case, on the estate planning, you're likely to see a distraction or a dip if that's happening. So, hey, thank you, Tia, for getting that ready. That was kind of an unplanned audible we're calling here, but here is the graphic on that. I think we've got it pulled up, and if y'all can see this, let's see, I think I can blow it up more. Okay, so here is somebody starting off on the basics of selling final expense. Maybe you start to add Medicare. Well, you're starting off down to this orange tip here, and your final expense might dip. But now, hey, a while later, you're cooking in the Medicare side. Okay, so well, now I'm ready to do the estate planning, or now I'm ready to hire a staff. Well, as you train this staff, it's detracting from some of this here. So you're seeing a dip in this income, but as this person, the staff person or the estate planning comes up to speed, it will grow if you stay focused. Okay, so you're going to have to grit your teeth through this phase, or anytime you make a change to implement something, people need to be aware of that. It's going to hurt.
Right.
You want to get out of your comfort zone. You're likely to see this temporary dip. So manage your expectations. So I'm hoping that helps as we close things out. So have a big goal. Plan your changes with your leader, whether it's recruiting more, staffing more, the Medicare side, the estate planning, annuity, whatever piece it is that you're getting into, plan it, expect some pain, stick with it, and let's come out the other side. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to stop my sharing here if I can find my button for that. There we go. Guys, I appreciate all three of these couples for what they did last year. We got big expectations for each of them, both, again, Sebastian, LaQuinta, Mike and Kate, and Jason, Olga. Thank you so much for your time today. Looking to see everybody here in Dallas in 2 weeks, and we're going to make this a banner year. Y'all take care. Bye.
Thank you. Love you guys.
Ciao, Mike.
See you in National Convention.